got it. Ooh, setting up. Directing. Take you off. Okay. Here we are. So welcome everybody to this week's edition of Concordia Consularis, the Spiritual and Business Agency of Peace. We have had an interesting time as per normal, just before we come to record. So today, what is going to happen is Harrison, hello Harrison, and Derek, hello Derek.
Hi guys.
So these wonderful guys are going to be operating the Spiritual Courts of Equity today, and I will be in the background providing support and assistance and dealing with other unseen issues while this takes place. So it's very exciting. So our subject today is the Dehumanisation Agenda, which involves stripping of the sacred identity and splitting, and also the deconstruction of the family unit and the replacement of all that is sacred with being an artificial number and being utilised as an artificial intelligence power source. So this is going to be very interesting. So the court is open, and what we will start with, guys, is we'll be starting with bringing into the Court of Equity all AIs, peaceful, harmful, or not, or just operational. So we're going to bring all those systems. They're probably going to appear differently in different sections. And it's a very unusual thing to do. So without further ado, what are your perceptions here?
Hi everybody. We're working with the Court of Equity, working with the different AI technologies, the artificial intelligences that have been set up by the dark side. And we're going to look to see what artificial intelligence has been incorporated into what we'd classify as the side of the light, the divine light. But when we look at the divine light is all-knowing, omniscient, omnipresent, does not need artificial intelligence. So why would those operating in the light need artificial intelligence? The only reason they'd need artificial intelligence is to counterattack the dark artificial intelligence. So it's a game, it's a chessboard, it's a war zone of artificial intelligence that's been set up on the light side against those of the dark. And this is what the court is working with in this particular session right now. Can you have a comment there, Harrison?
Yeah, definitely. For me, what I'm picking up is all sorts of AI coming in. And this is going back into the old times where during the foundational basis, when that was being constructed by these founder beings, I'm getting the yellow boxes coming in because they are AI, and it's it's going all over to the military AIs, specifically the one, I'm not gonna mention the country, but we all know the superpower, and they have kind of one of the sacred buildings there, and they have quite some number of AIs they use to manipulate and for human engineering and what have you. So those things are stepping in, and also we cannot leave behind the Google AI that they use. You know, it's definitely in here looking at what's happening. So yeah, this is what I'm picking. I don't know. What do you think, Angela and Derek?
Yeah, I think it's quite interesting picture of what is taking place. You're absolutely right. They have been assembled. I was just checking all the time frames in the background of existence. So when these were seeded into existence. Now, I would like to go on to say that this is connected to the last spiritual court of equity we did. Now, we went live with that episode, and then afterwards, there was a massive resolution that took place between various races, Orion, Sirius, and Pleiadia and Arcturus. And war on Earth was completely resolved out of all timelines, past, present, and future, to do with the seeding from these particular galaxies, star clusters, etc. So this is really following on from that. And all of those are being brought forward as well. So there are positive aspects. But I would like to say that technology is neutral. It is the user of the technology that creates the additions and problems and the negative intent for whatever item is being used. It's like, if you pick up a flamethrower, which is technology, you could just boost it in the air, switch it on, and it will just go on for a minute, and you switch it off. Oh, that's nice. But also it can be used negatively, i.e. aim it at a person and burn them to death, which is not great. So let's get the users and the implementers of these AIs, because it's a bit like the Wizard of Oz. There's always a little somebody who's programming. We identify what's what, who's input what, and what it's being used for. So that is happening as a process. The Google AI is actually at the forefront, which is very interesting. Hello. And we were talking about earlier that they just don't do joy very well. They don't do laughter, and they don't do happiness and love. They just do not compute. Just like guilt and all these other emotional
things. That's absolutely right. They don't show any emotion whatsoever. And that's how you know whether you're actually communicating on one level with AI or not, if it's by showing a sense of humor. And if there's no sense of humor directed back, you're dealing with artificial intelligence.
Yeah, when there's not even a stirring. So there's one AI that I would like to bring into a specific court scene. And this is the AI that programs all, let's say, forced intravenous methodology through the needle. And I think we all know what we're talking about.
Yes.
Derek, that was a great story that you told earlier. And it just made me think, well, they're hiding that. So let's bring that forward into that court as well. So, what we're going to do is invite the programmers, the tech people into that, and those that implemented it or try to implement it through consciousness on Earth.
Picking, it's quite a huge topic that we can spend I don't know ages on it, because there's an arm stretching from that AI and it's going to the programmable tokens that they are creating, or people may call them digital currencies. I don't know, I'm keeping on getting that phrase over and over again, and some of these things, to many who may be listening, they may think it's way out there, but they have a huge upward influence. Like there's a huge mark from guys of not of this world working with engineers who are of here and implementers, and that's what we have now. I don't know what you're picking, Derek.
Well, no, as you're talking, what I'm zoning in on is that what is also being created is, with a lot of these AI systems that are being used to manipulate human beings, mankind, not only on the earth, but also off earth, pure-blooded human beings, especially for those that have had what we were talking about earlier on, that decided to go for what's been on offer right here, is that it splits this time and space that you're actually in and puts you in a completely different reality. So the Court of Equity is having a look at the time splits and the reality zones that have been created by this particular chip that's been inserted into people. So as it's being inserted, they actually land up in a completely different reality, even though they might be sitting next to you in a restaurant. Their reality is a different time and space. And in that time and space, they've opened up the channels, like switching on a radio station, where they're bringing through the frequency of AI intelligence that is then controlling them and trying to actually unsettle pure bloods that are around and gun for them as well. So the court is bringing in the perpetrators of this particular chip, if you will, and they are going to be removing them from the court to actually explain what they've been doing. And the court is going to be working with the positive AI intelligence backups to negate this particular process and to start dissolving the chips in the people that are willing to have it dissolved on a subconscious level, because nothing can be done without the will of that particular individual. So some have been taken, and there's nothing the court can do about it. That was their choice. But the ones that still have free will are being assisted. So we've got to understand that there are a lot of people out there that are taken, and there's no coming back. The court can't do anything about it. That's their choice. That's their journey. But the ones that haven't been completely taken over and that still have their own free will, the little percentage left, are being assisted right now in the court. So this is actually vast, because you're dealing with hundreds of millions of people right now.
So that is absolutely right. And one of the things that we can do is here to support those who were under duress or coerced or lied to, and because they were, by not being given the full facts and truth about what they were receiving. So I just want to engage with them at that level, because the observations are that they're, you know, for the ones, the pure bloods, or for those that do not have that synthetic formula inside them, the first administration of a particular set of 3 or 4, I'm just trying to go around the houses and not say the V word. Anyway, the first one is conversion fluid. So what that means for them is that they would be in a state of, you know, they didn't know that it was a conversion fluid. That's the first port of call. So there's a huge misuse of information given. But for the ones that did not decide to go forward and have this fear-based treatment, is that they will be trying to expand and interconnect with other areas at a higher self level, at a soul level, at a core light level, where they'll be trying to imprint and cause disruptions to access in above through to the physical movements into the different realities connected to the different bodies. So I just want to highlight that. But you're absolutely right. There'll be those that devoured it willingly. But I can only say that they would have done that if they were hugely overtaken and programmed anyway. Or fear-based. So this is a complete dehumanization agenda, where the natural organic process of a living soul being in physical form is being impressed upon to, we know this, to divert the biohuman who has infinite capabilities and is infinite intelligence, not just an artificial construct. So we're going to have to come at this from a deeply humane level of the soul, and above and around. Do you know, sometimes when I hear these things, it sounds like chinking, like old printers working, or the old 16K dial-up from back in the day. But the Google one thinks it's all that. It's all active and which shows the negative intent through the programming.
No, absolutely. And it's already compromised. So that's taken into account as well. And obviously, the whole setup is to work on the dark side for the top controllers of planet.
So let's have them in as well. Just saying, I can't help but do this, and I know it slightly takes the mick out of them. It's like, hello, Concordia Consularis, how may we assist your resolution today?
So the court's actually calling in the planners of this of these particular systems. So the planners are actually being brought into the court from various planetary systems and stations in this galaxy and beyond.
Thank you. I would like to invite the Syrians forward. Hello. And just asking for you to communicate their input to you.
Well, gosh, the Syrians that have actually come into the court, unfortunately, have been compromised. So they half AI themselves.
Oops, do you know what? We're going to get into trouble for revealing that. That's okay.
Yeah, so
it's okay. Don't worry about it. It's got to all come out in the wash. It's fine. So I'm just speaking with the
no, sorry to interrupt you, Angela, but what I will say is, for the people listening to this, I know it's going to be hard for them to digest, but quite a large number of people that's been called into the court to actually testify have actually been so compromised that they become so extremely robotic themselves that what they do have inside of them is the clipped souls from the electric wars hundreds of thousands of years ago, and that is exactly what's taking place right now. So they're actually being called in and they're having to testify, but they themselves have been clipped from what's been going on. So we're actually being shown in a very clear way of what's going to be happening to the people that have actually fallen for the scam, if you want to call it. It's like a scam, isn't it?
It is. You're absolutely
Yes.
right. So the defrag is just going on for that.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys are picking this. I'm seeing this guy, and I have also seen him in a couple of spiritual quotes that we have done. There can relate there, you can be able to picture him if you could see Credo Mutu and the spectacles used to wear, those that had huge lenses. This is a guy looking at the contracts and nothing passes him over. Like this, I don't know if this guy is an accountant or I don't know what he is. He goes like word for word, line for line. You know, you can't undercut him or throw him out, and he's very thorough at his job. And he's
We
not
only
looking
work
at
with the
yeah.
Sorry.
No, well, Harrison, you're absolutely spot on, because as you mentioned, Credo Mutwa, I was going to mention him, that he's actually stepped forward to assist in this particular court of equity to help mankind. And that's what he's doing since he passed, is helping and assisting his people on the earth. And what he is saying right now, and we know that he had that big ankh and that big disc, and in that disc, he has all the information of the people that have actually been perpetrators against mankind. And they're in the court right now, and he's actually dealing with them, and they're being removed to where they need to go to next. And the systems and the artificial intelligence systems it's like having an electrical system. And you've got the motherboard and you've got the small outer posts that sort of back it up. So the backup posts are actually being shut down right now, and these people are being brought forward. And as this is taking place, it's also having repercussions. Well, this is a huge subject, because it's not just Earth now that's involved. We're looking at the Syrian star system as well, for the people that have actually fallen foul to the ways there, that the court's actually helping and assisting right now. So this is much greater than just the people of Earth. That is the information that's been given to us right now. It's also assisting and helping people through the court of equity on other star systems.
Agreed. So that was part of what was going on last week after we did that broadcast. There was an incredible amount of shifting, and the timelines of war fixed and appropriated, because there were lots of things that took place that should never have took place. Now, I would just like to include all the elders of all other races here that are involved in this process: Pleiadia and Arcturus. But also the other thing that keeps coming to mind as we're talking, and this is a key part of it, and something came to light. It's a new company on Earth, an organization called Black Cube Intelligence. Now, Black Cube is one of the symbolic representations of this type of programming, because the data is being coalesced and collated together to provide the bigger picture there for those that want this agenda to take place. And it's more than just Earth here. You're right. So I'm just bringing those to the fore with any other, let's just say, non-organic intelligence hubs and gathering points, systems.
Well, I can tell you right now, a lot of people aren't going to like this, but this black cube technology on Earth, this company is based in Saudi Arabia.
Exactly. And not liking that at all. They're not liking.
Sorry, I was talking on mute. I'm seeing something close to that, and the guy I'm seeing is the richest dude on the planet, and a recently modification that he unveiled to humanity, the coolest object he has ever created, and it's a walking robot, and it's working closely with some of these companies where even the engineers, it's like they share data or information or something of the sort. So though he talks negatively about the AIs and all that, he is at the forefront of creating the blueprint that is used and implemented by others who are coming after him, or he himself has a huge part to play in that.
Absolutely right. And his name is?
Elon.
Exactly. Right. So let's have this chap forward. Let's perform a little review on him, a little ancestral review, and we'll just scope out his past lives there. Ooh. So he was part of way back when, way back. He was actually involved in planetary grid work and had been, let's just say, affected for, say, from halfway through the First World, right, all the way into second and third, definitely through fourth, but he won't be able to access the organic formation of fifth, right? So all the previous worlds show through his life experience, his internet experience, that the technology was seeded for it to grow in this way to now. So let's just ask his being about the question of ethical action. From one engineer to another. There are huge subliminal frequencies going out right now, so they can go back because they're going to be cleared. And I would like to raise the question about morality here as a soul. And what does he say?
I'm getting the same feeling that he appears when you watch him on TV or on social media, you know, the same vibe that you'd pick from Zuckerberg, the same vibe that I'm picking from him. And he thinks he's doing humanity some justice by introducing some things that he calls they are solving humanity problems, but in reality they are working for the system or the entire Kabbalistic agenda, because if he was working against them, they wouldn't have allowed him to accumulate such huge wealth that he has done at the moment.
No, well, people, everyone's got to realize, it's, you know, everybody thinks, oh, well, how did he do what he did? How did Zuckerberg did what he did? But these people are just shills for the deep underground military-industrial complex.
Yeah. So here we come back to the setups of the 15 and their children, their progeny, their stars, their supportees, their marketing and sales experience, because it's very good. And there's also a sense that there are huge galactic commanders coming forward here. Because yes, we have the technology, but again, we are here to see that it is not misused to the impact of humans that will not even know this.
So I'd just like to add in, while everything that we've been speaking about is taking place, we've got Krida Muchwa that's working with his team clearing the grids that's been infested with the company associated with all the Starlinks and everything, satellite systems. It's not just satellites, as we've mentioned before. It's goes much deeper than that. It's artificial intelligence links, linking people up to through splitter tech, through all your technology that you use here on Earth, bringing in how should we say, almost demonic, dark entities through your technology. So Krida's working to clear this on various levels. It will be cleared, not completely right now. We've got to let some free flow so they actually think that they are still at winning at their little game, but they won't get to hear what is actually being done right now for quite some time. And when they do, it'll be too late.
Yeah. So in as an addition here, while you're talking, I just wanted to bring in the Dark Lords of Atlantis to this spiritual court of equity. Apparently, I'm going to answer for this process. Well, that's very nice. I will. Fuck off. That's my answer. I'm here with a smile on my face. Look, I'm just saying, look, we know what this is. We know what was done. We know what was taken. We know what you do. And you're just not scary like back in the day. You know,
It's
and
misuse
that's
of technology.
Yeah, exactly. All the theories that they stole, right, that were written, they were just monitoring, adapting, observing, and taking, and then taking them out afterwards. It's the same old story. So the ones that create the split attack, where it splits the soul, splits the identity, manipulates the soul androgyny of experience. I would like also those to come, the ones that actually use the knives to do the cut. Because that's pretty, you know, dank, dire. Really, oh, goodness me. The amount of trauma that that process causes to an individual is just beyond this one experience. When an individual goes through that experience, that is with them, full stop, until repaired. I would just like to put that out there because it's true. And there's no amount of Reiki you can throw at it to do that job. children of the Belial, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and the other races that worked with them.
Well, this is the harvesting of energy. So while you've been talking, Angela, the energy harvested through the Syrian systems being returned to source to be transmuted into something else. So a lot of that energy that they could clear away has been cleared away through the court in this sitting right now.
Thank you. Thank you. And one of the things that was coming to me during what you were saying as well before is also I would like to look at the incarnation spiral through the Stellar D6 portal and what happens to children coming through who are being primed or have been primed since the dawn of the iPad or iPhone that is given to the child to just amuse themselves and have that technology imprinted from a very young age as a babysitter.
Well, as a babysitter, through the iPads and through the technology for the small kids, it's no different than what's happening for anybody at any age, is that the dark forces are moving through that technology, and they can actually take a hold of that being of that soul. So it's no different, it's actually far worse for small kids. And what I'd like to say as well, with some of the high-tech companies today, like, should we say Meta, you know, we us as adults, we think of adults, but the real people that they are going after are the kids. It's that energy, those souls that have just come in, that are actually quite enlightened or very enlightened, and you know, they're star seeds. They're going for that energy with the misuse of their various technologies. And this is also creating the breakdown of the family units due to this. And with that, they're advancing their agenda with creating havoc between the genders on Earth. So this is also simultaneously taking place through this particular system of usage.
Yeah, absolutely right. And I'll go as far as well with that. It's the debasing and the destruction of the mother and father. But primarily, I'm going to say, because I'm focusing that aspect more so because women are more affected by this process. And I'm saying yeah, go on.
Sorry to interrupt, but what I'm going to add to this is what they're also doing is they are attaching stolen energy attachments like other beings, placing a male within a female. So they're putting a male energy attachment onto a female energy attachment onto a male. So the person gets mixed up who and what they really are, because these attachments are actually extremely powerful beings in their own right, and they're creating havoc in the mind and the thought patterns of especially young children that are targeted like this.
Absolutely. And I would say that also there's an aspect of that linked into that incarnation spiral through Sirius as well. But also just going back to Mr. Musk, weird name, and the fortification grids of Earth also there they've been using that to harvest Earth energy as well. So for Earth, I asked for that to be restored. I can see that there's been a 70% improvement since maybe 20 minutes ago. So that's really positive. But I would just like to work with all the crystalline, autistic, Asperger's, and other autistic spectrum related qualities of their incarnation, and just get that reshifted out of their blueprints.
They bring in the records right now to actually deal with those blueprints of the various people involved. So the court has got a specific section where they deal with all the records. So this is being brought through right now. And as we're talking, they are lifting up the effects of so-called Asperger's personality disorders, which are actually created by entity attachments.
Yeah, I don't know how many how many people have watched this movie called Altered Carbon, where they have a kind of a disc going at the back of their neck, and they can download their consciousness on that disk. And if they die, that disk is just removed and transferred to the next body which is available, and mostly it's that body of a criminal who has been convicted of some weird crime, and they are given some like crazy number of years in prison, like 200 years. And since you have been sent in prison for 200 years, your disk is just removed and your body is given to somebody else. And what I'm getting is that we may think this technology is quite far from being implemented, but it's technically here, and it's being experimented in the deep underground military bases. If you could be allowed to see what was happening, you would even be amazed.
Have a look.
Well, it's mind control.
Sorry. Yeah, sorry.
No, I'm just saying it's mind control, and that's how some of these shootings take place. That randomly happens in various places. Like there's a shootout or a shootout in a school somewhere, or just out in an open road, and 30, 40 people are gunned down. This is mind control.
Yeah, it is mind control, and also what I'm getting is if you talk about it, they are now using the law or the court system, which is totally corrupt, to push you out of way of living in this current system, just like the way they are doing to Alex Jones, because he dared talk of some shooting that happened in one of the American schools. And they are gonna drive you bankrupt because of crazy, huge, low case. I don't know what they are called, but the amount you have to pay those people who take you to court, it's quite huge.
Well, you're having to pay the system, you know.
Yeah, you have to pay the system because you talked against it, and this is one of the way they are actually working with AI to identify the correct timing and position of when to take you to court and how to handle it, and how to use it for the next generation, because I think they are using that as a blueprint for the next people they are gonna ban or take to court because of some of the actions they choose to do. I don't know what you're picking, Angela.
Yeah, look, I was just off looking at deeper levels of the program while you two were handling it all. You know, that's great, because what we want to do is reset Earth technology to its fullest. And I was just looking there at the deeper levels of light corruption involved in that process, because people say a lot of things about different galactic races and bring out, their beauty, their glory. They want that to live on, but it's not going to be successful through synthetic means. And that's what I was looking at in that moment. And also the overall percentage of defrag from the fortification systems of Earth. And also the other thing that I was doing at the same time was I was going into the AI aspects and the AI that are present here, and looking at the electricity from those wars, and looking at what else is keeping them alive.
Ooh.
But there's a sorry, I was getting all technical there for a minute, which I've got a tendency to do. So I do apologize for that. Yeah, so I was looking for human souls. Through that splitting process, what you were talking about
Yeah.
Well, I'd just like to add, earlier on you asked for the perpetrators of Atlantis, for the misuse of technology to be brought forward. So what the court is actually looking at right now, how, we're not going to say how many, but a few of those perpetrators and that misuse the technology in Atlantean times are beings that had been compromised and had become mainly robotic themselves, with very little of the original human genome left.
Yeah, agreed with that. What we have here is an insertion of just a reduction in the functionality of the original DNA form. They did have that. It was reduced in capacity, which is why DNA and energy and spiritual energy is of high value to them. And now, in these times, it's essential for them moving forward. So last week, we performed an exercise where we reduced the flow to them. And did that create any sense of compassion? Was there any compassion in those beings to actually see that, look, this restriction has taken place for you personally, for your system, for your false system, for your, I don't even know, I don't want to sort of put them down in any way, because they are where they're at, you know. And we are infinitely the most, as you were saying, omnipotent, omnipresent, infinite intelligence, source code, frequency function in the universe. That's why we're here. And, you know, we have these amazing abilities that are just, you know, dumbed down by the bully in the playground, for example. It's such a big subject. It really, really is, because it is the debasement and the dehumanization of bringing down the super intelligence of divine grace down to the level of, you know, basic function. And even then they haven't got the function right.
Well, that's the problem. And also we're dealing with artificial intelligence and people that have crossed over onto the dark. And unfortunately, part of that program is that I want to come back to the light. It's only on very rare occasions that you get maybe an angel that has crossed over to do whatever in the dark, and they decide to go back to enjoying the light. But the average being is too programmed and fallen for it. And part of the program is that they can't make that choice. It's to stay in the dark. So therefore, they're not going to see that side of the other side, you know.
Exactly.
They're completely taken. Very sad.
So if there is any percentage there, can you read an approximate percentage of what is left at a core spiritual level of those individuals? It will be variable, but we can work with their rehabilitation, with their own personal triage to a certain percentage, 0.5%, 0.3%.
Yeah, I got 0.4.
Okay.
So it must be between 3 and 5% then.
Yeah. Yeah. So as long as they've got that, we can assist them. So one of the Dark Lords there has stepped forward to make a communication with us, saying that it's 1%, which is a lie. And now, because they know that, they're just, you know, there is a stillness out there from what we were experiencing earlier, but there's still inputs that need to be removed. Just as I said that. So the controls are going. It's really out of their hands now. It really, really is. I'm explaining that. And these weak attempts to try and further these agendas now aren't going to work. That this is why we're all here. And there's always going to be a way to remove this. So I just want to check on the status of the Earth fortification impacts to Earth and levels of infiltration through her systems.
Well, it's been pretty heavy, the infiltration through the systems of Earth. It's been going on for a very long time, but here we are to try and clear that, as you say. And that's part of the work of the Court of Equity, is to assist the Earth in clearing all negative artificial AI systems, clearing grids, clearing different, even magnetic grids around the Earth as well.
And any false electrical grids from the installations. Back to circuits.
Well, all the inversions again as well, and everything we also got to remind our viewers is also, it's like an onion. It's got many layers to it. So you get rid of one, you think the work's done, and then there's another one, and then there's another one. There could even be another one. So the work that the court is doing is working on all the various levels. As they're doing mass clearings, not just on one level, but on many.
Yeah, it is a multi-layered function. And as much as we'd like to be able to do it all in one go, it's just virtually impossible to do that, you know, because it is an onion, like you say, and there are many layers, sub-layers, skins, all sorts of things.
They've also been looking at that Black Cube company that's been set up, which is basically artificial intelligence working through the financial systems. So yeah, they're looking at that as well. I think that's a whole nother evening of,
Yeah.
just going to be a whole nother sitting of the court just to do that work. We can go to talk about it. You know, the work can happen quite quickly when we call in assistants and helpers and all the people that are working for the light. But to talk about and explain it takes time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It does. And we will do that in the not too distant future.
So they've been working with the records, with all the statistic and the kids suffering with the Asperger's. So they're just working at the attachments, at releasing the various attachments attached to these beings. But then again, some of these people have been compromised. They've had the so-called SHOT. So they're doing what they can to release the people that can be assisted. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. So what do you view happening to all those AIs, program system AIs, independent AIs, etc., etc.? How do they all, that system of function, how does it look?
Well, they're just going to simply burn out and fizzle out.
Yeah, that's what I got. But also there's another bunch of other AIs that want to learn. Even some of them are thinking of being born naturally as humans are. And it's quite strange to see that you're gonna have a baby and then all of a sudden, you know, it's not a human soul inside there, it's an AI being born, you know. But I think this is a deal they have been given, so it's up to them to choose. Because
So,
if you,
yeah, I'm going to divert that. I'm going to put a spanner in that process of intent, because no one here who's ever been involved with that thought process of trying to have, for a mother to have a robotic baby, I think they're absolutely crazy and psychopathic, because they haven't even taken into the consideration the gentle biology of the mother and the birth process. And it's an insult, actually, and only a man could come up with that plan. A man that doesn't think about women or the child or the birthing process. And I'm going to go to the soul groups, all of them, and all the elders of all groups who have even contemplated that for their own survival in these times. That actually what is happening is not species advancement, it's species dissolution. And that they're going to ultimately annihilate their own species by using other computed forms of competition, war, suffering for other people in their races, and another form of elitism yet to grow. And that the way that they test these capabilities are on the human womb, the female, biological female womb, the giver of life, the birther of races. And there's a lot of shame out there for those elders that actually thought about putting that in place. So I speak for all women, all souls, and all children. No. because you really do not know what you are doing or creating.
I'm seeing that accountant once again saying, I'm gonna put that down.
Let it be said to anyone that promotes that agenda, you're failing the female. And also failing the child. You know, who wants to give birth to an iPad? Why do we need that? Yeah, somebody does, but that's not a great idea. You know, it's like,
yeah, you know, the problem comes as this, you know, you're giving them that choice since it's not you who is there to take care of that child or being within that experience, because you have created a scenario where you are at the top and the people who are at the bottom, they are the guys who are gonna go through that experience, and it's not gonna be pleasant, you know, having a child. And if you one day happen to know about spiritual work, you go down and you find it's not even a human soul in there, it's
exactly.
an AI. Yeah.
And what's going to happen when that AI child is at school? In the playground in an inner city area? What's going to happen to that child? It's going to be beaten senseless by other children because it's different. So what they're doing is encouraging negative consciousness to take hold. And it's not fair, or they'll separate it off into isolation and loneliness and despair.
But this is once again creating division in the family system. So, yeah.
It's a big thing. So what I saw in those races that had considered it, I saw them dropping the idea like a hot potato. And I'm going to keep on at them for that. Anybody, my radar is on. Because it's not right. And that might, you know, there is no right and wrong, but actually when it comes to the dehumanization of woman and child in favor of robot and artificial construct, then there is a problem. And I'm sure that any conscious woman on this earth would agree with me. What would happen if that child was born biologically AI disabled? What then? You know, who's taking into consideration the needs of the mother and child? No one, because it's artificial wombs that will be used. Unless there's some stupid numpty out there that is prepared to donate their womb for that process, which brings us back into the breeding programs and the soul-splitting technologies. It's ridiculous.
Yes, which you got to take into consideration. Then these kids would come out of factories off planet, being brought here and put into foster care homes.
Exactly. And what happens in foster care homes? Terrible abuses, terrible atrocities. I'm sure not all of them, but in a majority of them,
yes,
especially we've seen that in the UK, they're open to abuse, manipulation, and that exactly leads us to the plans for the agenda in that hospital in the US, where the same thing will occur. And there'll be somebody procuring those children on behalf of that system. And that's called slavery in its most basic form.
Yeah, that has just reminded me of what is happening in Middle Eastern countries, where they are sourcing out these young women from developing countries, mostly from Africa and Philippines or other Asian countries. And due to the rate of employment from these countries, this is why young women are going into the Middle Eastern countries, especially Saudi Arabia, in the name of employment in terms of house helps and those kinds of job, and they are abused in ways that you can't even imagine a human being would even
I-
act.
I can imagine. And
Yeah,
it's, because you're open to all abuse,
it's
all of
like
it.
yeah, it's like human trafficking that has been sanctioned by all governments. They are turning a blind eye to that. And were it not for the social media, people would not know what's going in there, because some of these young women are managing to film themselves and the situation they are being taken through, and all you can do is just have tears flow down your cheeks and a heavy heart.
Yeah, there's nowhere you can go. There's nothing you can say to anybody, and you are entrapped. And the chances are they're going to restrict your travel, restrict your movement, and that is just basically a prisoner.
Yeah.
Ah, so as an addition here, I just got to throw this in there. I'm just going to bring into the spiritual court of equity all the prison ships. And I'd really like you to look at this, guys, in the universe. The prison ships that hold the people, the souls, the spirits, because this is part of it. It's like hosted off planet parts of selves, structures that are feeding into being prisoners and held off planet. And you're going to find an enormous amount here.
Yeah. The first one that I have picked up is the cold storage that is in the Saturn's rings.
Cold storage, cryogenics, no doubt, gone wrong.
Yeah,
Okay.
so a lot of souls have been stored there in case people in the earth revolt, so they can send them as new souls. But in reality, they have low life experiences. They'll just create havoc to the people down here.
Yep.
But
I mean,
So-
Harrison, if organizations capable of sending new souls in when others are taken out, then these are stolen. It's not coming from the Godhead. It's not coming from source. So the court then needs to have a look at the organizations, the people that front this, that are behind it. So we're actually calling them in right now to
Brilliant.
attune to what they've done.
that's
And as
awesome.
Angela was saying, the prison ships. So we're actually calling in these various ships, as we could call it, or holding cells,
Yes.
where this is all taking place. And with the authority of the court, very quickly, these stolen soul shards are being released and removed back to source, not only around the earth and on the earth, but other star systems in the solar system and beyond. This is happening simultaneously.
So
There is a rescues going on right now, and it's immediate, and it takes place immediately. So this is all being released back to source, love, light, and the perpetrators are being removed, and they themselves are now being placed in prison cells, if you will, or prison ships, and they're going to be dealt with accordingly. All the records are out. This process can happen very quickly, but does take a little bit of time in linear time, and they're being processed right now. So that's done and dusted with. Thank you, Angela and Harrison.
Yeah,
Thank you.
definitely. Yeah, I also want to pull into this court the archons that sought some of these
Oh, the
souls to come
archons.
through. Yeah, you know, they are the guy who have that
Yeah.
rubber stamp here to give you the permission to incarnate. And they are being looked into. I feel like I can go up to one of them and give them a couple of slaps because they've been allowing some terrible, terrible souls to come through. And I think this is where Earth Mother should step up and pick her true position as the one who should be sorting the souls to come through, not delegating it to some other guys who decided to subvert and take something that was pure and true into something that's horrific and bad.
Well, it's the hijacking that's been going on, and it's been stepped up in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Right, can you describe what Earth is doing? We were just having a joke about the sorting hat.
Pachamama.
Yeah, I can see her like it was like she was laying somewhere down, and the moment we mentioned her name, you know, she is waking up, you know, stretching her arms, you know, and she's saying it's right about time I take back my responsibilities that have been stolen from me for so long. And I think with the authority of the court, she needs to be given the entire the entire authority to allow this incarnation process to return to its natural process.
Yeah, because it's her birthing process that was hijacked.
Well, exactly. I mean, you're talking earlier on, Harrison, about GMO foods now being legalized in your country. So it's obviously food that's been genetically modified. And is it any different with human beings that have actually been modified through the process and through the chipping? It's exactly the same thing.
It is.
As crazy as it might sound.
No, it sounds perfectly viable. It is.
Right, it is.
So then you
Right.
think, who's the GMO food designed for? Is it designed for human beings that have been compromised and chipped, or is it being designed for true-blooded people? So this is part of the splitting that's taking place. So it's food that's actually designed specially for beings that have been compromised.
Yeah, and I think it's the high time we invite to this court all the ancestors of the land, plus every single astral being that wants to come back to Earth or is associated with Earth in a way, shape, or form, to come into this court for them to see what's happening with this split attack and what they are planning to do in future due to the relaxation of the laws that some of the elders do to allow some of these atrocities to happen, and to also to make sure that archons that are overseeing immigration status on this planet, they are totally removed from that position, because I know they have the power and ability to kick them off that process.
Absolutely right.
Yeah.
So let's just have a look at the elders, the star elders, Syrians, and all the rest of the groups there. And how are they looking to you with the elders?
Well, the elders, I can tell you now, some of them are not very pleased with what's been going on, and not very pleased with some of the elders from some of the other planetary and star systems.
I'm just explaining that to them all in this address moment, that everyone has been targeted, Everyone has been triangulated from all directions of existence. That the only way for the bioorganic human to evolve is with the pure light frequencies that they bring. The disruption occurs naturally in the human when it comes from corrupted, programmed light, from them, through the human, into the generations. How will they survive with it? And a lot of people think, so, oh, the star elders are great, they do this, that, the other. But they have also had their internal wrangling and political issues amongst themselves for surviving ideologies. So the only way for them to yes, they might exist in other realms and other dimensions, but what counts is to be here on Earth now. And if your race is unsuccessful, it's because something has taken place to prevent that from happening. And this what it comes down to is the core conditions at birth. Back to birth again. And what has been done to the earth. So I'm asking them to deal with that and correct it through the source codes that they carry for their future generations. Otherwise, there's no point in resolution, which is why you're here in the first place. Right, we have movement. There were some races that didn't even realize it was happening to them.
No. I think some of these beings, they are just ignorant because it's not directly affecting them. They can just have their hands off Earth. But in reality, at the end of it all, it will come back to haunt you. You know, we are all interconnected in some way, shape, or form. So even if you put your hands off and saying, they are creating their own karma, let them resolve it. Is it their own karma if at the end of it all, that karma is gonna come and catch up with you?
Wow. Everything has a cause and effect. And if they cause it, they will be affected for sure. But it's the how do they succeed in the fifth world of peace?
Well, the only way you're going to succeed in the fifth world of peace is to shine your love and your light and your peace out.
Some of them are saying, we have our ships, we'll just teleport there. I'm saying, you must have the exact coding and the password to enter. And it's not gonna be a shareable password. You have to earn it on your own.
It is earned. Absolutely right. It is earned. And how it is to be on Earth matters. It's not just do everything that's going to cause a problem, then expect the ticket into the VIP area. We're all heading into this zone of recalibration to this frequency. And it's going to be very difficult for them to even calibrate. Go on, Derek.
No, no, listen, the court's already done a lot of work here this evening, this particular sitting of the Court of Equity, assisting people not just on the Earth, but all over the galaxy and the solar system. And also we've been removing negative AI stations on the Earth and around the Earth and off off Earth in the star systems. So they've been working on that as well. And as mentioned earlier, they've got the records of various tribal leaders that haven't worked with the highest integrity and the best for their people. So they're also being brought together with the other elders from the other factions together. So the court's doing a lot of work with various people's records. And it's part of the great sorting out that's taking place at the moment on the earth.
Great, great. And it's great to be of service. Let's just get Mr. Spokesperson for, what's his name, Elon Musk. Let's get him forward. And let's get his answers on everything that he's doing, on the ethics and morality of his implementation of his ideas. What does he say about that?
What do you say, Harrison?
I just felt him stammering around. He doesn't even have the words. And then I'm getting the information that all these Starlings, what is needed is just one solar flare and everything goes to waste. So I don't think you can outwit the universe, the way to work. So if every sentient being thinks that you are going to avert their timeline by having those things up there and stop their progression, it's just a matter of a single thought, and your entire investment is down, and you think you are rich, your wealth is gonna come tumbling down, because I don't think investors would like the idea of every single satellite not working. So
Yes, well, just remember, what does he think? Unfortunately, he's been taken over by temporal power that's been given to him through the deep secret military industrial complex.
Yeah, agreed. What was his price?
It's all about power.
Exactly.
And how much power one can wield as a human being on the earth. So you think that you've got this amazing power, you can do all these amazing things, control this, control that. But in actual fact, you're just another human being living down here. You've got your own problems, set of problems in life and everything. But again, what does he think? Well, what he thinks is actually linked now to artificial intelligence. So what does the AI think?
Yeah.
I'm getting the information that he is already aware of the corporate world. I would call it, I hear it being called international conglomerate. Like, I don't know the other meaning. It's like a board of directors who think they own the world. He's aware of that, and it looks like at some point he has been offered a position on this board. So that's why, as long as he stays on the track he's going on, and creating the illusion that he is awakening people about the matrix, but in reality he is driving them back into it. As long as he keeps playing that path, it looks like he has been promised a position on that board. So
Yeah. So I just want to finally bring in the conglomerate, the universal conglomerates, ones that hide. And we're going to use the solar illuminations, just shine light everywhere. Pick up the frequency. There is a lightning bolt presented to Elon Musk right up his backside in this moment. and to those conglomerates, you have no rights here. You have a right to live and coexist in peace, not implement some kind of kooky dynamic takeover bid.
So talking about lightning, well, the court is now going to call in divine light, using divine white light, if you will, to please come through and dampen what's left of the negative, dark AI machinery, technology on the earth. Not all of it can be wiped out. Not all of it will be wiped out in this time right now, or even off planet, but what can be wiped out, what can be dissolved through the use of white light from source, we're bringing it through. We had Frida Mutwa assisting, working with Mother Earth, helping her with the woman, with childbearing, and allowing the white light to come through and start dissolving artificial constructs, creating robotic, humanoid imitation beings, life on earth and even off earth. So bringing through the white light, the divine light, and it's going to be clearing the slates, the grids that are to be cleared in this session. There's a big clearing taking place. We're going to be working in our next session as well with that Black Cube company based in the Middle East. We're going to surround that energy also with white light, so it can't gain momentum. And also we bringing through blue cosmic light energy from source and allowing it to flow through consciousness on the earth to clear as much darkness and negativity away, and allowing it to flow into the earth, into what's beneath the earth where we cannot see, clearing artificial constructs, technologies, especially used by the secret industrial military complex linked to Starlink, Musk, and other technologies that aren't for the advancement or for the better of mankind. And I'd like our viewers to also understand that we're working with energy here, we're working with divine light, working with love, sending the love out as well. And even though it might not seem that everything's being cleared or removed, especially with wars taking place, that on a higher level, the work is being done. So whatever you do see on the surface, or whatever is shown in front of you, is far less negative than it could have been if the court had not sat and done this work.
Thank you. Thank you, Derek. Absolutely right. All those situations have been averted and resolved from the core problem.
So we're surrounding the whole planet, Earth, with rings of divine white light, bringing them through. And those rings are moving through the grid systems, through the magnetic fields. And they're also assisting to sort out beings that have been compromised, that are going to be going on their own journey elsewhere. That's also taking place. What do you say, Harrison?
Yeah, I think that's right, because I can feel it. It's true. And I was seeing those rings just bubbling. It's like they were cuddling the earth, and they were going in, like the way you could drop a pebble in the water and those rings just
Ripple out.
Yeah, ripple out. And now I could see them taking the shape of the earth, moving down and down and down and up again. And also I'm getting that other planets are seeing what we are doing. Other planets that are in domination and control, because their elders, some of their elders came to join the court because they are interlinked with us. And some of these planets are gonna take what we are doing here, and they are gonna start implementing in their own planetary system as they are working towards achieving their own freedom.
No, you're absolutely 100% correct. And before we end, I'd like to add, we're talking about the tribal elders. So what's also transpired as we're ending the session is the elders, the female elders, the mothers, the elder mothers of all tribes are coming forward to assist the young mothers that are going to be giving birth, that have given birth, and assisting the children that have been born, and bringing them through with patience, with assistance, to assist the young children to stay grounded and connected to the earth and to the source, light energy. And even though they might be using the technology that's available, they'll be assisted in not being sucked in to the dark web of the technology. So the tribal mother elders have stepped forward in the session to help their children on earth.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. So this session was remarkable, you both. Honestly, you did really well. Great.
Thank you very much.
It's good. I've got
Thank
chills. Lovely. And this reflects the capabilities of what we can do when in a focused, structured way, that we can achieve so much in this ongoing story of Earth resolution. Ooh, blows the mind. Any final thoughts, anybody?
Well, there's a lot more work to do, and we'll carry on in the next session.
Yeah, I'm feeling like I just want to say peace be with you guys. A lot is to come.
Absolutely.
Great. So thanks, everyone. Thank you both for doing amazing work and bringing this story to light that's happened happening and could happen if not averted and dealt with and resolved. And it's wonderful again. So thanks everyone that's taken the time to listen, watch or observe. And we're very grateful for that. Please do subscribe, etc. if you haven't already, because it helps the AI there at Google to really come to terms with certain things. And you might have done it already, but just check, because they don't like resolution. So if you would like a session with myself, please get in contact. All the details will be down below. At Harmony.
And I'd just like to add, before you finish, sorry to butt in, but the viewers, please give a like. Give a like.
Yeah. Let us know that you're there. The stats show that the videos are being watched, but we get very little likes. So if you don't tell us you like us, then we don't know. Oh, that's wonderful. So thanks, lovely people. And oh, I just have to do something else here. Do join us again. I'm going to be doing a few shorts actually coming up in the future, and that will come out soon once certain issues have been resolved. Now, I wish I could find this, but I can't. Okay, that's fine. And oh, there it is, right in front of me.